What's going on, guys? In this video, I want to show you guys how you guys can almost cheat the system and pass any $50,000 prop firm evaluation in under 60 days. Now, again, some people can do it a lot sooner than that. Sometimes it's taking me 3, 4, 5 days to pass, sometimes 10, sometimes a full month. But by allowing yourself to get 60 days of trading underneath your belt, you're going to start to learn a lot about yourself emotionally, a lot about the instrument you're trading. I would definitely recommend the ES or the NQ. I would prefer the NQ just because of the volatility is a little bit higher. I know that scares some people, but this strategy is going to allow you to do what you need to do to pass the prop firms in just 60 days or less. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the video. We're going to kind of show you guys the strategy. Now, again, this strategy I've been teaching. It's not going to be something new that you're going to see for the first time, but I'm going to explain it in a little bit of a different way, maybe a little bit more clear that you can understand. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to start off by removing everything from our charts, okay? Because this strategy is only going to rely on one indicator. That's going to be the 20 SMA. Now, you already may know this, but I want to break it down to you in a way that makes sense, in a way that kind of eliminates a lot of the other factors of pre-market highs, the previous day highs, what's going on in the news, this, that, and the other. So the only rules to this strategy is that if we get a setup in the first 5 minutes, because we're going to be using the 5-minute time frame, we're going to ignore the first setup if it's in the first 5 minutes, okay? The reason being is because the first 5 minutes of the market, there's a lot of volatility, up, down, a lot of sideways action, a lot of, orders that are getting filled. It's crazy, right? So we're actually going to wait for the second setup that happens after the bell, and that's going to be our full go. Now, the rules to this kind of strategy, in order for you to pass it in 60 days, any prop firm for $50,000, normally your price target's around $3,000 for a 50K account. So we're allowing ourselves enough time, and we're not going to do it in a timeline that's going to cause us to rush through, but it's actually going to cause us to build a nice solid foundation going forward. So what we're going to simply do here is wait for after the first 5 minutes. We're going to let that play go. If there's a particular setup, you can see actually today on the 2nd of November, we actually got a setup that happened on the right off the bell at 6:35, right? A setup to the short side, setup to the long side. We're going to completely ignore these setups that happen within the first 5-6 minutes off the bell. Okay. We're going to look for that next setup, whether it be 1 or whether it be 2, 3 setups down the line. What we want to do is just focus on this. If the setup is happening within the first 5-10 minutes, let it go. Okay. First 5-10 minutes, let it go. Now you're going to notice here at 6:45, which is actually 15 minutes after the market opens, that we get a setup to the downside. Now, what we're going to do is simply do this. We're going to put a pivot level at the low wick if it's a short, and all we're going to simply do is give ourselves a stop loss over that 1 bar, okay? So if any candle closes over that candle that closes below or above the 20 SMA, we're going to get out. Closes, okay? So our entry is going to be when we confirm this downside pivot. Now, this downside pivot is happening at 14,900. You can see that we do get confirmation at 7:05. And once we get the confirmation, we go from a price of 14,900 all the way down to 14,869. Okay, so that's around a 30-point move. Now, how we're going to be able to pass this in 60 days is I want you guys to set a hard limit order or a take profit order, 20 points, okay, 20 points below your entry. So if you're getting in at 14,900, I want you to set it at 14,008, whatever, right? 880. Okay, so 20 points below that. So as soon as we hit 20 points, it automatically is going to trigger. You're going to get out of that trade. You're going to lock in 20 points on the NASDAQ. Now we're going to start off by trading 1 micro contract. And 1 micro contract taking around 20 points is going to be around $40 to $45, depending on, you might get an extra point here or there, or might lose an extra point. It's going to be around a $40 winning trade. Now we're going to aim for 40 points a day On the NASDAQ, those numbers will change if we were playing the ES, and I'll make another video for that. We're going to aim for 40 points. As soon as we lock in 40 points, we're going to be around $80 to $100, depending on if we got a little bit more out of the trade or we got a little bit less. But it's going to be around $80 to $100 a day. And we're going to look to lock in anywhere between 35 and 40 winning days over the next 60 days to then get us to that profitability where we want. The next setup happens here at 725, and we get confirmation at 735, and that pivot level goes from 14,936 all the way up to 14,970. So in this particular case, you're going to get another 20 points because you're going to have that hard limit order, that hard take profit for 20 points. You are 2 for 2 on the day because, again, we're going to let the first trade or two go if they happen within the first 5 to 10 minutes. We are only looking for trades after the first 15 minutes of the market open. That will be your first indicator to get long. So allow the first 15 minutes to just go by if there's any setups at all. Sometimes there's not. But if there is a setup in the first 15 minutes, we're going to let it go. And we're going to take either that second trade after the first 15 minutes, or even it might be the third trade at that particular time. Today, it was the third trade. As soon as we lock in those 40 points on the NQ, we're going to call it a day. We're going to be profitable between $80 and $100. And it's going to take us around 35 to 40 days of profitability, winning days, before we pass. And it's how you can actually cheat the system by taking a little bit more time to get this done, taking a little bit less risk, allowing yourself to be a little bit less stressed when you're taking trades. And if you're able to get the moves, you got to figure in the first hour and a half, you can take the rest of the day and do whatever you want. You can just come back the next day and do it all over again. You don't really need to worry about where the previous day closed. You don't need to really worry about what news is going on. None of that stuff is going to matter because all we're looking for is short-term change in trends over the 20 SMA. I hope this helps you guys. If you guys do want to trade with me, you guys want to get access to that mentorship and community where I have my courses, as well as, daily watch list. I'm going over these trades in live real time on the live stream. You can definitely join. I only have 3 spots remaining for new students to kind of join in. Again, I'm going to raise the price before the end of the year. I'm only going to hold it at this price for another 48 hours, and then I'm going to double it because I only want to work with people who are serious. After I fill the third spot, it's first come, first serve. That price is going to get increased to double. I'll see all of you guys who decide to join on the inside.